What's up, everybody? Ask Rinde live. So I'm actually previewing properties today. I'm actually out looking at several properties. I'm in Teaneck. Looked at this property just a few minutes ago, and this property, I think, is a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. It's actually got 2 baths, but one is like a makeshift bath. So, what's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Thank you guys for joining the live. What's up, Jen? So yeah, actually just wanted to, really give a quick live on who's doing better right now, residential or commercial. And obviously we see that the residential market is still booming, even with the presidency in the limbo right now with all the things going on between Biden and Trump. But residential is still moving really strong. Like I'm here, you can't see the amount of people, but it's almost like a line down the block to see this property because it's under 400,000. What I see really is, with residential, I think it's going to remain strong, probably up until May or June of next year. And the reason being is because many people right now are taking advantage of these low rates, but a lot of them are overspending for the properties. So we have situations where with some of our clients, we're going in and trying to get the property, and we're not talking about bidding wars where it's like $10,000 over, $20,000 over. These are properties that are going for like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 more. And the reality is that it's not sustainable because what they're doing is they're inflating appraisals. So there's this false sense of appreciation that's happened with the values because over the last few months, they've been overpricing these properties and they've been closing on them. So some people are saying, they're coming in and they're like, okay, well, the property is not worth this much. I'll put money in. But then there's some lenders that are actually allowing their appraisers to inflate the values. So, I don't know if you know much about real estate as far as how we comp properties, but in the U.S., we use a comparative market analysis a method, which means that we look at the last 6 months of sales, active, pending, and sold, and we come up with an idea of what prices should be. The appraisers, although they have a little more in-depth, I would say, criteria that they use square footage, they use kitchens, they use the bedroom counts, they use all those things, but they still do use things that we as agents use. And the reality is that if they're pricing the properties more and you're going in and paying more for it, that means long term, you're going to have a situation where if you go to refinance, when the property and the values do go down, when the inventory goes up, you're really going to be in a bad place. And so I think that residential is strong right now and it's going to remain strong. I'll give it until probably May or June of next year. And the reason I'm saying this is because real estate is a slow moving current. So, you don't really see the effects of the impact of what's going on with the real estate market until later on. So like, for example, New Jersey is the #1 state when it comes to foreclosure right now. And the reason being is because we still have inventory that hasn't been washed out the system since 2008. Believe it or not. So since back then, there's still inventory that they're still trying to get off the books. And so with that, with what we're seeing now, I think that it's better now because people are putting money down, that it's not like crazy, before where there's no money down, there's just nothing, no skin in the game. Excuse me, no skin in the game. But I do think that with what I'm seeing with residential and the hype, there is an issue that's going to come down the line. Now, one of the reasons why we're having such a surge here, I was in New Jersey, because of the exodus from New York. Many people are leaving New York in droves, and that's because of this pandemic. You have a combination of people now working from home, so there's much need to be in a comfortable space, in a larger space, because people are working from home. And then also there's a lot of remote learning. People are shopping online, so they're just doing a lot more things at home. So you have areas like this. I'm in Teaneck right now in New Jersey, where most people are looking for this. This is what they're looking for. They're looking for properties that are, really affordable, under 400,000, in a good area, very clean, probably a 2-car garage, pool in the back, and they're chilling. They're at home. They don't have to go out. They don't have to go to Disney World. They don't have to get on flights. They don't have to do any of that. So the game has changed, and it's affected the real estate market and people's habits. And I think that when you're comparing residential and commercial, rest assured residential is doing very well for now. Commercial is doing terrible. The only subsectors of commercial that are doing well are going to be 2 areas, and that's going to be warehousing specifically warehousing that is catering to online companies who have their storage in the inventory, whether it's Amazon or wherever. Those sectors of commercial are doing very well because basically, you know, is much needed. Like the warehousing is needed for all these inventory. I have an online business. I have several online businesses. Some of mine are you know, drop ship businesses, but then also I do have business where we store product. And so if I have a large shipment coming from China, I can either keep it in storage or an area that I own, a property that I own, or I can actually hire a company to use their warehouse. So there are a lot of people who are doing that, and warehousing is doing well. The other sector that's doing very well when it comes to the commercial will be self-storage. So as we know, many people are in a position where they're either moving out of their apartments and or they're moving from properties to properties, and they're either downsizing because of finances or whatever. Self-storage is doing very well right now. Those are the only two areas that I see promise when it comes to commercial. Retail, they're in for a worse situation because, you know, the retail and the commercial sector has been due for a correction for a long time. And I think that obviously that time is here, as we are seeing. I don't see a change with people starting to go and shop. Specifically, we have another, you know, we have another resurgence and all the things that are going on. You're going to see people retract more. And we're talking about another shutdown in different states. So thank you guys for joining the live. We're talking about another shutdown here in New Jersey. I think Newark is going into a 10-day shutdown as of, I think, this weekend. So my anticipation is that I think things are going to get worse, unfortunately, before it gets better. And I'm not sure if what they're coming out with is going to help. We'll see if it does help. But for the meantime, when it comes to residential versus commercial, obviously residential is doing very well. It's going to continue to do well for the next few months. And, you know, I think that what you want to look for when it comes to the silver lining in all of this is going to be rent to own. Some people are looking to try to get into the market. Like, for example, I showed this property, right? And I actually was one of the first people here. But this property, if I was to show you the inside, it's got a lot of junk. It's got stuff all over the place. But people who would have never looked at this property before are here on a line simply because there's no inventory. So when there's low inventory, demand goes through the roof. And you start looking for anything. You look past flaws. You look past things that you would have, you know, you even waive contingencies when it comes to purchasing. I never advise my clients to do that. There's a way to navigate that process when you're in a situation where there's like a bidding war or the market is so hot. You still have to be able to protect yourself because you want to make sure that you do your home inspection. You want to make sure that you do things like tank sweep. For example, like some of these properties here, you know, this person could have bought this property maybe 10 years ago, 7 years ago. And when they bought the property, they never did a tank sweep because they weren't doing tank sweeps back then. So they're doing tank sweeps now simply because what's going on is that in the past, when you bought a property like this, if you look at the yard there, I don't know if you can see, in the yard under the lawn, there may have been a tank, an oil tank. And so you wouldn't have known that because that wasn't custom. It wasn't customary back then. Now you're going to buy the property, you get the house, and then you find out that when you after you bought it, there's a tank under the ground. So when you go to sell the property, in order to be able to get that remediated and test the soil, you're talking about $50,000. So it's a big issue. So what I always recommend with my clients, we definitely do a home inspection. We definitely do tank sweeps, and we do all the things to protect ourselves, even if we are going to pay more for the property, a little bit more to be able to beat out everyone else if we can. But, you know, with the frenzy going on, you still have to make sure that you're smart about how you purchase. If you're going to buy something like a single family, I highly recommend buying something with a finished basement, simply because that can be another income stream for you should in case things go bad. You don't know if your job is going to have an issue. You may be furloughed. You may be laid off. We don't know what may happen in the next few months and year, really, that may change things for you. So you position yourself where, yes, you're depending on your income and you buy the property based on your income, but you also have another additional option should in case you need to get extra income. And that goes aside from renting out space in your property. I did a video on my YouTube channel. You can check that out, Ask Rinde, where I talked about that. And I talked about ways to monetize your home. So there are several ways that you can do that. And, if you're getting X amount of money, let's say you're getting $2,000 a month, you can take that up to $3,200 a month, get more money, cash flow on a property. So I just really wanted to do this quick live. Thank you guys for joining the live. And, I look forward to, connecting more. I'm hoping that I can be doing more lives in the next month or so, in the next few months, to be able to share what I see happening with the market. But for this one here, residential versus commercial, obviously, residential is doing very well right now for the time being. I do expect that to make a big change once we see the cracks start to show. And with residential, there are a lot of problems. I mean, with the forbearances coming due, if they extend if the CDC extends the guidelines for evictions, which are basically expiring on January 4th, then that may be, well, no matter how you flip it, there's going to be problems, because if they extend it for evictions, that means that more landlords are going to be in a position where they can't monetize the properties. So they're carrying these properties, and they're going further and further into foreclosure, because they're going to try to pass it off on the banks. And they're going to try to tell the banks, look, I need a forbearance. I need an extension of my forbearance. I need more time. And what happens in a case where the banks refuse? Well, they're going to say, well, look, I can't give you any more time. You've already ran your year or forbearances. If you're an FHA mortgage. If you're a conventional mortgage, the banks don't have to do anything. They don't have to play ball. Some of them are, but depending on your mortgage servicer, they may not be. They may say to you, you have to, you got to pay. And if you can't, you're automatically into foreclosure, because once you pass 3 months, that's it. You're in a list pendants filing. They can just go ahead and proceed. Now, obviously, the sheriff's offices are closed, so sheriff sales are not being administered here in New Jersey. But depending on where you are in the country, there are areas that are actually open. And I think that, if your area is not affected, whether you're in a non-judicial or judicial state, it's a problem, because what will happen is you need to make sure that you can skirt that. There's like a middle point that you have to be able to follow. And I think that if they don't extend the protections that are in place for not only the rentals, but also for mortgages, then you're going to see a lot of inventory, a lot of real estate flood the market. Because right now, there are people who, I have clients, and a lot of people that we deal with, because we deal a lot with the distressed market, that they're telling me right now they don't have the forbearance money. They know that they have to pay in January. They know that it's due, but they don't have it. So what do you think is going to happen when the bank calls for that money and they don't have it? That's a foreclosure. So yeah, there will be a foreclosure. There's going to be a foreclosure tsunami. I mean, the only way that won't happen is if the banks forgive the debt. And that's the only way. Because even if they were to say to you, yeah, no problem, we'll take the money and we'll put it on the back end of the loan, they're going to try to change your mortgage payment. That's what they're going to try to do. Your mortgage payment is not going to be the same, because there's an amortization schedule that they have to follow. And that money has to spread out. So let's say you have a 30-year mortgage, and you got a loan modification, and they already put you to a 40-year, for a 40-year mortgage. They extended it to the stretch out to the loan to the last part of the amortization schedule. Well, what's going to happen is when you go to try to basically talk to them and say, look, can I get another, can I really get this money put to the back end of the loan and you keep my mortgage payment the same? They're going to say, well, how can we do that? You're already at the end of your loan term, or your loan lifespan. We can't do that. You're either going to have to pay us, or you're going to have to, you're going to have a higher monthly payment where we take this money and we spread it over the life of the loan on top of your mortgage payment. And people can't afford that. So if you can't afford your mortgage now, how are you going to afford a higher mortgage payment that's $1,000 more, $1,100 more? All those things are going to point to more inventory, more foreclosures, more distress coming in the market. There are a lot of videos floating around saying that, oh no, people not going to be, there's not going to be a foreclosure market. There's not going to be a foreclosure tsunami. And I'm sharing with you, as a foreclosure expert, there is going to be a problem, because a lot of people don't have the forbearance money. So just have to keep that in mind, and watch the market. I'm not sure where you are. If you're watching, you may be in the business, you may not be. You may be looking to try to get into the business. My highest recommendation is look for a 2-family with a finished basement. And if you can get FHA, get FHA. If you can work off market. It's best to go after properties that are off market, that are not on the market, because you're not dealing with bidding wars. So we certainly deal a lot off market. and we do have properties on the market. But off market is best because you're not dealing with competition, and you're not going to be overpaying for the property. So the way you do that is connect with a really good realtor. And I can speak for myself, myself and my team. We really try to do the best that we can. Of course, we have to deal with the market the way it is, but we are experts at what we do. I've sold over $30 million in real estate, and I've been doing this for quite a while. So, yeah. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me, askrandynow@gmail.com, my website, askrandy.com. And I hope you have a blessed day. You guys stay safe, wear your mask, and I'll see you next time. God bless.